Hello everyone. Welcome to Mantra Talks with Industry Experts, an initiative by Mantra Labs, an InsurTech 100 firm building products and solutions for the changing world. Undoubtedly, the outbreak of COVID pandemic has affected the global economy. The pandemic is disrupting global supply chains and international trade. Many industries have been hit due to this. The biggest impact of COVID-19 has been on the healthcare sector. Indeed, it has been a challenge for hospitals to deal with this unprecedented event. In order to understand the impact of this crisis in different sectors, we thought about interviewing various industry experts to get a sense of the current situation. In today's session, we will discuss the role of technology in combating current challenges faced by healthcare and possible mitigation strategies. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Richard Roy Mendons, who's head digital strategy at Yashoda Hospitals. He has a strong domain expertise within the healthcare industry and has successfully infused digital transformations in various organizations like Columbia Asia Group of Hospitals, Sakra World Hospital, and Manipal Hospitals Group that ensured better customer experience and increased business. A digital strategist, he currently leads the digital efforts at Yashoda Hospitals, which is amongst the oldest and biggest healthcare groups in the region. He has nearly a decade of experience in digital marketing, digital strategy, and digital transformation with a distinctive ability to develop highly effective and measurable strategies that drive revenue growth, new customers, brand awareness, and reputation. Constantly inspired and fascinated by the dynamics of digital landscape, he has developed a skill set built on the art of leveraging digital technologies focused to deliver positive user experiences and achieve business objectives. In 2019, he was awarded as one of the 50 most influential strategy leaders by COM Global at World Marketing Congress. Mr. Richard, a very warm welcome on behalf of Mantra Labs.
Thank you. That was quite an elaborate brief.
All right, so let's dive into it.
Great.
So, understandably, many hospitals are reassessing their digital marketing strategy and budgets in the light of an uncertain economic situation. Most healthcare organizations can benefit from taking this time to strategize and plan for the future rather than putting the brakes on. Can you share with our viewers some key insights into the changing patient behavior and steps you are taking to reach them? Also, how will the healthcare marketing landscape change beyond COVID-19?
Great. I think that's a very good question to start with. Surely COVID has brought in a lot of behavioral change in all of us, right? And be it the way we consume content, be it the way we approach to people, the epidemic altogether. In terms of the healthcare space and specifically in the telemedicine space, what COVID has done, it's kind of completely cut down a channel where people could go and meet a doctor physically. So because of the lack of option, it has increased the acceptance to telemedicine as a service. So maybe a couple of months back, when a person had an option between online and offline, always we try to compare the benefits and comfort of a direct consultation to a online one, right? And we always are unhappy with the kind of experience. But now with that option gone, the acceptance had definitely improved towards telemedicine services. And the other major insights that I have faced across is we do not need very high-end technology to execute this. When we hear about telemedicine, what comes to mind is like a jazzy computer and high-tech connections between two faces and high-end softwares. But that is not the case. Even an SMS or a call or a WhatsApp call, right? All we need is to build a bridge between the doctor and the patient. So you do not need high-tech equipment to start a telemedicine service. All you need is a channel. It can start with just a phone call if the doctor is available to make. Coming to the other part of the question in terms of the marketing landscape, of course, most of the spends have been diverted towards digital channels rather than the traditional offline channels. And that will continue to happen the same. It's more trackable, more efficient, more controllable in terms of conversions. And using digital connect to even engage with offline channels. So any of these healthcare setups will also have offline referral networks, business partners. Traditionally, there would be a field sales team that would go and meet them and connect. Now, with the lockdown and all of the social distancing in place, even that connect is replaced using digital connects, right? Webinars and video calls and all of that. The change in communication also as a marketing aspect has changed. Maybe before the COVID scene. So most of the communication would say, don't ignore your health, please come to us. During the COVID, come to us only if it's important or emergency. Otherwise, stay at home, it's always better. Post-COVID, maybe the communication might change, saying wherever you are, we are accessible. You can either come to us or use our online services. So I think in a short, what could change in terms of the COVID scenario.
That's a very valid point and a very nice description of how pre, during, and post COVID marketing landscape is going to be. The point that you talked about telemedicine. So in the short time since the pandemic began, the social distancing norms have obviously changed our daily routine, due to which now services like telemedicine are picking up. But do you think that it will still remain a key mode of healthcare delivery even after the restrictions are lifted? Are there any other digitally enabled services that can potentially find greater adoption in a post-pandemic India?
Telemedicine will still continue to be one of the key modes of care delivery, but that would not replace the existing physical healthcare delivery. Rather, it would be a mix of both. People would try to prefer telemedicine for maybe the initial consultation, maybe the non-serious ones, and then maybe for post-consult treatment follow-ups or review visits, where they would just need like a reassurance from the doctor on the continuum of care, or maybe change of medication, or just to update on the reports. Now that people have gotten a taste of or convenience of telemedicine, that piece will still continue, but that will never replace a more serious condition or surgical specialties where doctors needs to examine physically and deliver care. In terms of uh, the acceptance level and in terms of technology, there has been a wider acceptance in terms of non-clinical support systems. For example, maybe a chatbot in place to address customer service or an experience, and AI-driven platforms that can help in maybe triaging symptoms and guiding the patient to respective specialty or a doctor. Not in terms of prescription, but in terms of just helping them self-assess or self-serve in availing services. The other area where maybe digital platforms might or should take up a wider scale, or the non-essential service. When I say non-essential, or not essential to travel. For example, if you want to buy medicines, going to a pharmacy is actually not required at all. Right? All it requires is you know what the medicines you want and the way to pay. So pharma delivery is one sector where the entire thing can go digital. Right? And you can also have a format where there are no physical stores at all. To be directly warehoused to customers. Diagnostics in terms of sample collections, apart from radiology, diagnostics can go completely digital. Home care in terms of like remote ICUs, remote monitoring, could also be potentially a greater adoption in the coming days. The other aspect, which has now taken shape, is the medical education, training.
True, and especially the point that you made about chatbots. They actually help even organizations to focus on more important queries or more important tasks, and their daily operations can can be handled by a chatbot.
Right.
So coming to the operations part, from an operations point of view, digital transformation alone cannot help in preparing for an outbreak of this scale. The reality is we also have to be prepared for the possibility of a next pandemic wave. In the era of patient empowerment, the patient calls the shots. They want access to better, faster, and affordable healthcare services. The pandemic itself is testing the digital readiness and operational resilience of hospitals in digitizing services and bringing innovation into healthcare. So, what do you think are the operational challenges as far as digital capabilities go that hospitals are facing currently? And what steps must they take to bridge these gaps?
Undoubtedly, the COVID scenario has got a lot of challenges to healthcare delivery. We all know that the entire system wasn't geared up to prepare a pandemic. And there are multiple challenges that the hospitals are facing, both operationally and in terms of clinical and all of that. But I think it will be like a very lengthy discussion to talk all of that. Maybe I would try to address one point in terms of maybe a digital angle to it. The biggest challenge for any hospital is like a lack of a digital care platform and still heavily dependent on paper-based systems. Now, as we know, anything can be sanitized. We can put alcohol and sanitize, but how do we sanitize paper documents? And patients still have to carry papers, touch them, it exchanges multiple hands, and could be a potential carrier of the virus. Right? So it's even more important to keep most of the records digitized. The second aspect of it is because of the nature of virus being so as a pandemic nature, community spread is very, very likely to happen very soon, or maybe it's already happening. So hospitals have a responsibility to keep track of data at a patient level. So contact tracing becomes much more easier and automated. Right? So maybe a symptom can be added as a trigger into the system, and that comes up. It can automatically do contact tracing and give a list of people they can reach out to. The other thing that the healthcare delivery system or the healthcare organization will change is in terms of remote work. All the other IT industries have like already geared up in doing a remote thing. Healthcare is not. Right? Many of the processes, still hospitals rely on the person coming into the hospital or into the office and work on a computer that is in the network. So healthcare can look at different platforms to ensure that staffs are efficiently deployed and they can remotely work if it's a non-clinical service.
So, I have a follow-up question over here. Like you mentioned right now, a lot of processes need a patient or a person coming to a hospital, and that in-person interaction that is needed. So, both outpatient and inpatient treatment for all major non-communicable diseases, including emergencies, have been declined. Going forward, as a country tries to resume life in the new normal, industries like retail are experimenting with touchless user interfaces to boost customers' confidence of shopping in store. So, what changes, if any, do you foresee to the physical patient experience?
As you said, wherever possible, even now at the current moment, hospitals are trying to minimize contact. Maybe in an airport, the airports are telling print your boarding pass. The hospitals can go ahead and say, okay, you don't have to come and stand in the queue and the reception or pay your OP fee. To do it everything online, directly come and wait for the doctor's call. So it kind of minimizes like at least 3-4 touch points. Investigations can be done. We've seen multiple robotic assisted surgeries that are happening. So the contact is completely avoided. Similarly, there could be technologies coming up for even taking vitals from the patient in terms of BP monitoring or auscultation. All of that could be done in a non-contact manner. There are hospitals in the country who've introduced innovative robots who like screen patients who come into the hospital, like a smart screen on it or the camera takes a thermal temperature on its own. So there are a lot of innovations possible. Right? So it's still just the beginning.
Very true. I mean, there is a huge scope for technological innovations. So my next question is again towards technology. huge volumes of data are flowing into the cloud. In earlier part of the session, you mentioned about data, not just from doctors' offices and imaging centers, but also from remote devices and sensors owned or operated by patients. By harnessing the vast amounts of data and putting it to work in applications, it helps care providers to improve effectiveness and efficiencies. So, do you see technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence playing a role in the future of digital healthcare in India? Can you share some examples of areas that Yashoda Hospitals has begun experimentation or implementation of with these technologies?
So AI, ML, natural languaging, right? So these are the buzzwords now, and big data and cloud, and everyone is talking about it. And to answer your first question, yes, it will definitely pick up pace in India and in healthcare as well. But I see a strong challenge there. Though there is a lot of data on the cloud, the data is all owned by individual stakeholders, individual corporations, and standardization and access to the data is the biggest challenge right now. So, you know, any companies working towards utilizing these technologies should first look at technologies that can bring all this data on a one platform, usable, accessible, standardized, without compromising on confidential information of the patient. In terms of innovations at Yashoda, we are working on a couple of projects. Maybe I will not be able to name them on a public forum. Definitely a couple of them in terms of AI-based radiology imaging solutions, in terms of optimizing customer journeys within the hospital, manpower allocation stuff.
Uh, I have a follow-up question over here since you mentioned about customer journeys. Let's take the patient discharge process for instance.
Hmm.
Transitioning a customer from inpatient to outpatient is a significant challenge for a hospital since it involves multiple departments.
Okay.
It takes the integrated view of hospital information systems, electronic medical records, inventory, billing, and real-time updates of treatment progress to facilitate discharge at the click of a button. What is your experience in the transformation process and the ground realities of addressing this critical pain point?
So as you said, I think if you ask theoretically a discharge process, it shouldn't take so much time. But the reason it takes so much time because it has a, coordinated function between multiple stakeholders, right? Internal as well as external. And picture becomes a little more complicated when there's an insurance involved, right? So there's a
Hmm.
KPI approval required, and insurance papers have to come, and the medical has to give clearance, the different department. So I think that is one standing problem across all healthcare groups are working to improve the discharge processes. And the only way it is possible is having technology that cut across all stakeholders and in real time. And so wherever possible, we can avoid this internal communication delays.
True. So, coming to our last segment, as hospitals plan for the complicated return stage, like once restrictions are lifted, the volume of footfalls, testing, etc., will gradually increase.
Hmm.
What advice can you share with other healthcare leaders to prepare their organization on the front line to manage specific risks regarding employee safety, patient outcomes, etc.? What investments in remote patient monitoring, medical equipment, CRM systems should healthcare organizations be making to respond to the return to normal?
I should say that the kind of precautions most of the healthcare groups have taken in the country is commendable. And in fact, it's much better than other countries across the world. We are in touch with few of the major chains, and the precautions that are taken and the speed that they've been implemented, it's phenomenal. So it's starting from like the thermal screenings, fever clinic at the entrance, social distancing blocks. Like we've done something called even a cluster system within our hospitals, where the employees are clustered in certain areas, so there is minimal cross contamination between other employees. and that is going to continue forever. So maybe I'm not an expert in giving guidelines to healthcare providers, and there are authorities set by the government and the world across, and those are comprehensive enough to address the needs of this. In my personal view, in terms of investments, in terms of technology, the clinical data forms the base for anything to be worked upon. Right. So a good EMR system that can seamlessly integrate and exchange data between all relevant information systems is the best investment that hospitals should do. And this investment will not just be in terms of technology. The investment will also be in terms of behavioral change. Having a system in place will do no good if nobody's entering data into it. So the system has to be friendly so that the data capture is seamless. The data is made available across systems, and data is used properly to guide maybe in clinical decision support or developing user experience protocols or creating empowerment to the patient.
Well, thank you so much for your insights. Would you like to add something at the end?
Um, I think COVID has changed a lot of things in us. So I'd say that lockdown has unlocked a lot of things. And it's a good time for all of us to innovate, think the essential services as a word is like would be a key word for a very long time now in every aspect, right? Be it shopping, be it food, be it health. So now people will think, okay, is it essential? Should I do it? And only then proceed. And social distancing will be a new lifestyle.
Well, very well said. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining with us and participating with us in this interview. It was a wonderful interacting with you, and thank you for your sharing your views and your experience with us.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
a very good initiative by Mantra Labs. All the best.
Thank you so much.